So, hello everyone. This is Ali Azzeddin for Generation 4 Education. Welcome. And so I can start seeing in the chat, Huda is joining from Kuwait and Huda is typing to all panelists and attendees. Mona is watching from Lebanon. Mona, she's been with us since the morning and then she's trilingual. People are from Egypt now watching, UAE, and many other countries. So put in the chat where you are watching from. And let me welcome our eTwinz. So this is session number 7 today. We've been online since 9 a.m. in the morning, Dubai time. It's 6 p.m. Rachel is also watching since the morning. She's in Jakarta, Indonesia. And it's 8 a.m. where you are now, right?
Yeah, it is 8 a.m. Yeah.
So we're ready to give it a start. Let's discover together those 5 tools to add to our language class. And I'm here to support and to make all the interaction. If you have any question, all our attendees, feel free to put it in the Q&A and we will use the chat to interact and to connect.
All right. First of all, hello, everyone. Welcome to this session. We hope you will enjoy it. We have like so much to share today, and we just have 1 hour to cover these 5 awesome tools. So we are gonna try to go fast in the introduction, right? And jump right on the topic that we are covering today. Yeah, so first
I have just one question in that chat. Are they twins? Yeah. Yes, they are twins.
We are twins. We are twins, yeah. There's no mirror here. There's nothing, no trick. We are actually twins, yeah.
Good, yeah, good.
So we always like to start our presentations and to be super interactive with the chat, because we don't want this to be like one-way communication. We want to hear from you as well. So as Ali said before, just drop in the chat where you are from and like what's your position. If you are a teacher or a principal, a head teacher, we would love to know a little bit more about you, about your background, about where you work or what you're passionate about. So we are checking the chat. Please just drop in the chat all of those like different information about you.
Very good. So I'm going to read aloud these info. So please send in the chat your role. Where are you based currently? And then the people watching on Facebook, I know we have a group watching on Facebook. Feel free also to put in the Facebook chat, where are you watching from? And so I know that Amani is an Arabic teacher. She's based in the UAE. Hala is an English coordinator based in Lebanon. I know that Intisar is in Kuwait watching us. And I think Intisar is an Arabic teacher. So you have a variety. Samar is in Lebanon, an Arabic teacher. You have a variety of language teacher. Muna is a KG teacher. Nadine is a grade 5 teacher. Muna and Nadine, they are based in Lebanon. So what different roles? We have people who are teaching in the middle school, and so they are also Arabic teachers. We have English coordinator, media center coordinator. Hello, hello. This is a little bit of who's attending with us. And finally, we have a Spanish teacher. So hi.
Awesome. That's perfect. So we are going to jump right into our presentation. Please let us know in the chat if you can see our presentation. I think this has been the most asked question this last year, right? Can you see my screen? I cannot even count the amount, like the number of times I have asked this question this last 10 months. Right?
Let me add that we have also teacher assistant, we have head of technology, and yes, we are able to see your screen.
Awesome. So we are here to talk about 5 tools of like technology, the power of technology to transform your approach in a language class. Exactly. But first we are going to kind of introduce ourselves a little bit, like, because you are wondering who are these guys that look the same, they have like an accent speaking English, so they are based on USA, but they are not from USA. What is going on here? So I am Mario.
I'm Alberto.
And we are originally from Spain, but we are based on Utah. United States right now. And we are educators, as most of you, and we teach in a Spanish immersion program. So it means that like every single subject is taught in Spanish.
So pretty much we use the language as a to carry the content here. So we apply these 5 tools that we are going to show you today every day in our class.
And like before we start, like right now we are speaking to you, you are kind of like getting inspired by us, but we want to get inspired by you as well. So we want to see what you are doing in your class, the amazing stuff that you are just doing in your class. So please share with us, because we need to get that inspiration from you, because we present in many webinars, we do many presentations, but we need to get inspiration from someone. So that is why we put here our social media, because we would love to connect with you, to see what you are doing and to get inspired by you.
So don't hesitate and go ahead and follow us. Just we can start like this connection and get inspired in both ways, right? So before we start, just couple like housekeeping items. This is going to be an interactive presentation that I'm going to share the link in the chat right now. So you are going to find different places around the presentation that if you click on those buttons, you will find more information about what we are talking about. So this is great for the future, because maybe you want to check that presentation and kind of get more information, more like extended time to go ahead, like baby steps.
So Alberto is going to go ahead and share the link in the chat. Here we go. So that is the link that you can open the presentation. Even if you want to be with us during that presentation, kind of like follow the presentation with us, you are welcome to do that. Or if you want to check or review the presentation after we finish this session, that is a great way to kind of like review everything we've done. And if you want to implement some of these approaches in your class, that is going to help you.
Also, like just if you want to rewatch this webinar, you are always more than welcome to go to the YouTube channel, right, Ali, to check the presentation. It's been recorded, so you want to share that YouTube link with different like people that you work with, or you want to rewatch it, just go to the YouTube channel that maybe Ali can copy and paste the link in the chat, and you can check the recording there in the future. We have the index here. It's an interactive index that you can click on this arrow. It's really, really easy to do, just in case in the future you want to kind of like go directly to the section of the presentation that you want. You can click on these arrows and it will take you directly to there.
And then we always like to start our presentation with a little like a mood checker, right? So this is, we have Baby Yoda. Who doesn't love Baby Yoda, right? Like everyone loves him. Maybe you don't like Star Wars or you love Star Wars, but you can't deny that this guy's pretty cool, right? So like, we would like you to write in the chat, what's your mood this morning? Well, morning or afternoon, even evening for some of you. So write in the chat
from 1 to 9.
From 1 to 9, what's your mood right now?
So the mood of Amani is number 9. It's 6 p.m. here again in Dubai, 8 a.m. in the morning in Utah, where Alberto and Mario are. It's a 9 again for Hala. Summer is a little bit sleepy. Number 4, we have 5 satisfied, and the people who are satisfied, they are in Lebanon. Number 7 for Hiba. And again, as you can see, you have all the numbers. It's good that I'm not seeing a 1.
It's good, yeah. 6 afternoon. Yeah, that's awesome. We always start like this because it's just a good way to start, like kick off this webinar, interacting with you and checking on how you're feeling today.
So what is your mood, Alberto? What's your number right now?
So I think I'm number 7. I'm super excited to be here sharing I'm really passionate about, sharing my knowledge and trying to help as many teachers as possible.
Mine would be number 8, kind of like, kind of just like super excited, but something is coming, right? Like
waiting for it.
Yeah, waiting for it, like something big is coming.
All right, so we are going to start about like a little background of learning a language, right? So how many of you have learned a new language, and what was the key for that? What was the thing that you made for this to happen.
I'm sure we have our bilinguals or even like trilingual teachers and people in the chat. So please just drop like what's the key for that? Like, how did you learn a new language? What was the most important part for you to learn a new language?
You can't imagine how many people were very interacting this morning with us and with all the languages that they speak. So let's check our attendees this afternoon. How many languages do they speak? And they are typing in Arabic. So here I'm going to translate for you.
Please.
You can use Spanish, you can use Arabic, French, English. So Samar is saying Turkish is my new language now. I'm learning it because my daughter like it. I'm trying to learn French. I love music and the songs in French. This is
That's
Nadine. I can see that Amani is trying to learn English by attending English classes, and she typed in Arabic. So hopefully, Amani, you're able to understand our presentation. Sasha is learning her 4th language.
Wow. Way to go,
so,
Sasha.
Yes, I think Sasha speaks Arabic, French, English. Let me know what is your 4th language, Sasha. Muhammad, he speaks Arabic, English, and he's trying to learn German. Hiba, I love English and I'm practicing it. So this is allowing me to improve. Nari in Spanish, she wrote in class Arabic, Frances, and she's a Spanish speaker. Rasha would like to learn French. So Rasha, we will give you 5 tools to improve your learning, right? Mario and Alberto?
Yeah.
And we have in the Facebook chat here, like Dana says that she is learning, knows English and Arabic was much harder.
Yeah.
Good. So you're having a look on the chat on Facebook. So I was looking to share Dana a chat, and you just mentioned it. So let me say hello to Fatin. She just joined, and Fatin is watching from Jordan. And Fatin, you will like this. Hala is also trying to learn Turkish. And it seems like Turkish is a la mode now. And I'm seeing that from Luzine, some languages that I don't speak. Hello, hello, hola. Armenian, English, German, Spanish, and Russian. And she's from Armenia, and she can speak several languages. Where are you based, Luzine? So hopefully I pronounced also your name properly. You see, it's so diverse and it's so rich, the group that is attending with us tonight. So
it is awesome. And like the good thing, like we are covering learning a language, and like many people here, they know 2, 3, 4, 5 languages. So it's a great way to kind of like, this is a great example of how important it is to learn a new language, right? So the only way to learn a language is by using it, right? We cannot like learn a new language if we are not using it, if we don't use it kind of on a daily basis, right?
Using it correctly. We used to, we used to learn English when we were little, kind of growing up in the education system, but we didn't learn English very well because we did not use it. Like we were just sitting in our chairs, just like writing in a notebook or writing in a book, and we didn't use English properly. We just wrote it, or we just repeated what the teacher said. That is not using a language. Using a language is all about communication. You need to communicate. That is the purpose of a language. So that is the best way to learn it.
To deliver a message and use the language to learn it. And here is like the big deal of this, right? Like what's the difference between active learning and passive learning when we learn a language? We want to go directly and apply the active learning. We want our students to use the language, to listen, to speak, to write, to use that language in a meaningful context, if that's possible, and go away from that passive learning where the student is just sit in a chair, right? And just listen at the teacher and repeating. That's not using the language. That's passive learning, which is what we are not looking for here.
Why is this important? Why our students need to do active learning instead of passive learning? Because it's so important to know that like our students have a memory like everyone, and they are going to remind only 10% of what they read, 20% of what they listen, and 30% of what they see. So if they are sitting in a chair just reading a book or completing a notebook or like a workbook, they are going to probably remind at the most 30% of what you are teaching in the class. That is nothing. That is like very little. But what about if we have our students creating something? What about if we have our students using the language to communicate and to solve problems? They will remember 70% of what they do. And if we use that communication to collaborate in groups and solve a problem, they will remember 90% of what they say and what they do.
So we are going from 10% to 90%. And this research is just one of many that show that the best way to learn a language is by doing, but using the language as we mentioned before. And this is like kind of the difference between passive and active learning when we learn a language.
Because you are thinking, okay, Mario and Alberto, I understand that my students need to do active learning. That is something that it needs to be implemented in my class. But where do I start? How do I do it? How can I change my approach? Okay, you need to follow this table. Like, if you want to change your approach, if you want to change the activities that you are doing right now in your class, you need to follow this table. Go from select an answer to do a task. Go from fiction to a real life. Create activities that are related, that have a connection with the real life. Instead of recognize and copy something that you just said, have your students building knowledge and applying that knowledge to solve problems.
And going from teacher-centered approach, so the teacher is the one who kind of tells the students what to do, and go to a learner-centered approach where the students do and build and try and use the language.
They own their own learning. They are the ones who are driving their own learning.
And you say, okay, this is so beautiful, Alberto, Mario, this is great ideas, but how do we really can do this? What are the steps that I need to take to go from passive to active learning? So we are here to give you 5 different tools to do that.
To go from passive to active learning, to use technology in a meaningful way.
Because sometimes going from passive to active learning is just so hard. We don't know how to do it. We don't know how to make that step. We don't know how to make that happen in our class. But here we have 5 tools that we are going to share with you that you can use to kind of promote that active learning, to promote students to use the language.
The first one is Flipgrid, one of our very, very favorite tools. We use Flipgrid pretty much in everything in our classes. One more thing that we would like to add is that this presentation is focused on a language class. But if you are a teacher that you are not teaching a language, that you are like a history teacher, or I don't know, like a geography teacher or whatever, these approaches can be applied in your class. Just because we are talking about a language class, just because we are talking about like a very specific context, it doesn't mean that you cannot apply all of this to your class, or it doesn't mean that this is not going to help you out. You can get ideas from these tools or get ideas from the approaches that we are going to share and apply those to your class, even if they are not language classes.
And that's really, really important what Mario was saying. Like you can like use this approach in many, many different classes. And we have different here, just 4 tools. Why, Mario?
Because
we are talking about 5,
yeah,
right?
It's not like we don't know how to count. I am not very good at math, but I'm not that bad. So we are like kind of keeping one from you, because it's like a big bonus that we are going to include several tools, several approaches in that number 5 app, because it's not an app. We put like 4 apps together, and the number 5
4 plus 1
is, yeah, let's say 4 plus 1. The number 5 is a bonus with a bunch of information of different approaches or different things that we do in our classes.
So we start with Flipgrid, we will move to Quizlet, Nearpod, and we will finish this set of 4 apps with Ginkit. Please drop in the chat really fast how many of these tools have you used before in your class?
So you can see that Samar started already. Maybe she knew that you will ask this question. And she said, I used Flipgrid and Nearpod in the Arabic classes. Satyajit is interested in using these in the music class. I can see that we have a math teacher watching us on Facebook. Bibi, hello, Bibi. She's also joining us since the morning. And she said, I know Quizlet. We know 3 of the 5. I use Nearpod in Arabic. I use the Flipgrid in Arabic, Flipgrid and Quizlet. So you have a variety of people and a variety of the use of these application that you just showed.
Awesome, that's great. I think Flipgrid, it tends to be the most popular one out of everyone. I don't know if that's the case in the chat, but I can imagine that a lot of people have used Flipgrid before because it is key in a language class, right? It's just those kind of game-changing apps, game-changing tools. So we are going to start talking about Flipgrid. And what's Flipgrid, Mario?
So we are sure that almost everyone has used Flipgrid. But what is Flipgrid for those people who are beginners or who have never heard about Flipgrid? Flipgrid is a video discussion platform. Pretty much the teacher creates a topic, a prompt, creates a question, something that the students need to answer, or they need to create a product to be able to answer that question, that problem, or that prompt. And then they respond to that, recording a video of themselves.
And that's awesome because, like, to me, before, speaking was kind of the hardest skill to grade because students are speaking constantly in your class, but you don't have the time to stop everything you are doing, going and start grading their speaking live, right? That's really, really hard. So with Flipgrid, and we can do that. We can ask students to record themselves as answering a question, and then we can go back to that video and pretty much grade their speaking. So this is great for grading speaking. And this is an example of one of my students that I like to show, because when we use Flipgrid, we can use Flipgrid also outside of the school.
One of the biggest challenges that a language teacher has is that sometimes the learning stops when our students leave the classroom. This is very important because it is so hard to learn a language if our students only get like 1 hour of instruction every day. You know, so we were thinking back 5-6 years ago, Alberto and I were thinking about different ways to take that learning, that learning to the house, you know, to a different environment, you know, have that continuation throughout the day, because we didn't want our students to stop learning when they left our classes, because as we said, to be able to improve in a language, you need to use it as much as possible. So we decided that Flipgrid was a perfect tool to take this learning to their houses, you know, to have them speaking Spanish at their house. That is something that they never did because they spoke English at home. But we were like, okay, so how can we make them speak Spanish at home? And how can we make them practice this language at home, you know, to kind of like amplify this learning.
And also make them excited about the fact that actually the language, what they are learning, is useful out of the school, right? So we like to send them different prompts or ideas that they need to respond and complete at home. In this video, it was a science class. As we explained before, we teach science in a second language, in Spanish. So the idea with this, like, she was asked to explain the erosion, like how the erosion like shapes the surface of Earth at home. So what we are doing here, we are taking the language and the content out of the classroom, which is awesome. Here, she's explaining how different like water and ice, different glaciers are changing the surface of Earth. And she is using ice from her fridge, and she's using her backyard. So that's awesome because in this way, she's interacting with the learning at home.
You can see how she created like a mountain, and she's using water, ice to explain erosion. And she's using Spanish. She's using the second language at home, something that she would never do if we didn't use Flipgrid.
So this is something that we highly recommend, to try to take the language out of the classroom, like for them to see that it is meaningful and for them to see that it is useful out of the classroom. They can still use it when they are not with us. So Flipgrid is awesome. We have here a couple more examples of how to use Flipgrid in a second language class. In this case, it is the new feature, like from last year or 2 years ago. So with every Flipgrid students create, automatically it creates a QR code. So that QR code can be included in different assignments. Sometimes we create art or we create different like models or something, and we don't have time to kind of like explain it to the class. Or even if we want to display these art pieces, we can add that QR code to the art piece or to the project or whatever for people to scan it and learn what that's about.
For example, my students created a coat of arms because we were studying Middle Ages. So they had their coat of arms or of their family, and then they have a Flipgrid QR code with took them to a video that explained everything, what they have done and everything.
Like, so in this example, we can see that so here they have created a jersey. I guess it's like ice hockey jersey, and they have attached the QR code to their project, explaining what the project is about. We are using the language here to explain something that we did, and we are not doing live. We are doing it through a video, attaching a QR code for people to learn more about our project. This is something that we really like to do, and it's really, really useful. So we move on, just a couple more examples.
More QR codes in a science fair, like they can scan the QR code, the judges scan the QR code, and the QR code in the video, the student explains everything about the project. That is a normal science fair, as you can see, but in this case, there's a QR code, and instead of having the student presenting real life to the judges, like the judges just like scan the QR code, video pops up, and they can watch the video of the student explaining the science project.
This is a great example of, for example, we're doing a display or of projects or piece of art. We can include this QR code in the language that we are learning to explain the project. We like to do this because it's really active as well.
This is a new feature again, like back in October was new. Now it's a little older, but it's like a screen recording. Students can do screen recording in their on Flipgrid. And for example, if they have created like a Minecraft world, they can record their screen explaining how the Minecraft world is. If they have created like a Scratch project, which is coding, they can record their screen and explain what they have done. As we said before, we are trying to use the Spanish in different ways, like students are presenting a product, they're presenting something, they're using their target language, and as we said before, they're using the target language in a meaningful context, and it is active learning. It is not passive learning. They're doing something, they're creating, they're active, they're engaged. That's what we want in our classes.
So in this idea that we are watching here right now, so this girl has created a Scratch project, which is coding, to present one concept that she learned in the class. And she recorded her screen using Flipgrid, and with voiceover, she was explaining the project. Again, we are creating a meaningful context here in our language class for students to develop their language in a real world situation. So this is something that can happen when they are working in the future in a company. So real world scenarios is what we want to create in our world language class.
These are tons of examples that we are going to skip right now because you have the presentation, so you can check them later. Mm-hmm. So these are lots of examples of how you can use Flipgrid in a language class or in a regular class, history class, different scenarios.
We have loaded this presentation with a lot of information actually for you to go back when this presentation is over. I think the link is private, so we will make it public as soon as we finish here for everyone to have access to the presentation and go ahead and just like try to kind of like review all these things that we don't have time to go over it now, but you have here a lot of information for that. So we're going to jump on the next one, Quizlet. So please drop in the tab from 1 to 5 how much you know about Quizlet.
So in the chat, 1 to 5, how much do you know about Quizlet? And then the people also watching on Facebook, you can do the same exercise. So we're getting 1 and 2, which is good. So this is an opportunity for you to explore this application with Mario and Alberto. We're getting also some 3 and 4. I haven't seen any 5. So Nari, she put a 7.
Awesome.
So maybe she's an expert of Quizlet. So let's see, and maybe in that chat you can put also for us, how do you use it? Amani is saying, I've never used it before. So let's attack and start that explanation of Quizlet. We still have approximately half an hour.
Awesome. Like Quizlet probably is one of the best tools we can use to develop a language, right, Mario?
It is based on vocabulary. You know, like it's based on, well, it has so many things, but to kind of like to summarize all of those features, it's like a flashcards application app, but it has so many different ways to learn new vocabulary. Like we always struggle in the language classes to find new ways to teach vocab, right? Because
in an active way.
Because let's be honest, vocab, if you just have a PowerPoint with the word and the picture, that is kind of boring for the students, a little bit boring. So we're trying to find apps like Quizlet where our students can learn vocabulary in a more fun way or more engaging way.
So pretty much you create a set of flashcards that you are going to use in different games for them to learn that vocabulary. So there are like many different like games that you can play. We're going to watch this video really fast about different ways we can use this set of flashcards. So for example, we can use them like a test right here. So we're like, you can like put a picture and they need to match the picture with the vocab. Also, we can use it in a way that they need to kind of like put them together, find the relationship between those objects. Also, like if you want to take a test, they can do a test, do the pronunciation, the spelling, they can record their voice. So many different ways for them to play in a fun way with this vocab.
So what is the first step? First step is create your flashcards, as we said. You create your kit of flashcards. You can have 50, 60, 100, 200 different vocabulary words. And with that, the students can do different activities to learn these words. As Alberto said, could be a test, or it could be a game like we are going to show right now. There are different activities that you can have your students completing them or doing them for them to learn the new vocab.
You can do spelling or a test, or even match different flashcards. The gravity game probably is their favorite one. It is really fun. They need to type the word before the asteroid impact their planet. So we are going to see it right now here, how they need to type the word in a correct way. The spelling needs to be right, they need to be fast, and they are using the vocab in an active way, how we are seeing here, for them to complete the different levels. We are always like looking for those opportunities to have this active learning that is really important, as we were mentioning before, using the language in a meaningful way, in a fun game. Adding this gamification aspect of learning is key.
Yeah, and then there's like a Quizlet Live that it is very similar to Kahoot or to GameKit that we are going to talk about later. So it's like a Kahoot, like a contest, like a show, and your students need to answer different questions in teams, and they earn points if they answer them correctly. And again, those questions are based in the vocab flashcards.
So it is really nice to do that part of like vocabulary like using Quizlet. We use it like almost every day. If we are reading a story, what we do with Quizlet, we introduce the vocab before we start reading the story to them, for them to kind of play those games and already know the vocabulary when they go ahead and learn when we read the story together.
Exactly. So the students are super ready to read the story, and it is way easier. They will understand the content and they will learn all of the vocab that they need for the story just by playing, which is great.
Sila, before we start with the Nearpod, let me read what Sila shared with us. She said Quizlet could be a great study tool for subjects with a lot of visual and audio content. Art and science teacher can create detailed diagrams, and with a lot of photos, they can embed also photos from Flickrs. And then music and foreign language teacher, they can also attach live audios and recording to the flashcards. So a lot of opportunities to explore Quizlet in the language class and even in other subjects.
Yeah, it is great because we don't have time to go all over like everything that Quizlet can do, because we just have 1 hour. Our goal here is kind of to introduce you to different tools that you may want to explore later. So this tool has like many more options than the one we are covering here today. And we will need a 2-hour webinar to talk just about Quizlet, but just like keep in mind that these 5 tools of 4+1 that we are going over today has like many different ways to use in a meaningful and active way.
Exactly.
And I think on your YouTube channel also you're sharing a lot of tips and hints for the teacher as well, no? So they can check the YouTube channel for more info.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly. That'd be awesome. Yeah, Nearpod, Mario, what's Nearpod?
So before we start with Nearpod, we would like to check, as we did before, what's your level of mastery with Nearpod? Have you used it? It's a 1, you've never heard of it. It's a 10, you're like a Nearpod super trainer and like a rock star. What's your level of mastery or confidence with Nearpod?
So I'm getting from 0 and then the numbers are going to 5. So some people, they've heard about it. Some people know. I know that some schools here in the UAE, they have the paid version and they are using it all the time on daily basis with the student. We have a Nearpod educator. So as you just said, experts. So this is Catherine. And then other people, most of them, they wrote 1 in the chat. So let's explore it together.
That's awesome. So Nearpod pretty much is a presentation tool that it's great because it is not just a presentation tool that you have in your screen and students look at your screen to follow along. So what Nearpod does is pretty much it sends the presentation to every student device. So you have your presentation in your TV or your like projector or whatever, and students have the same presentations in their PC, in their device. In that way, they can follow along. Also, with Nearpod, you can include different like activities throughout your presentation for them to be engaged while doing it.
But you say, okay, what is Nearpod? So the best way to do it, the best way to learn what Nearpod is to do a Nearpod, right? Alberto?
Yeah.
So we are going to share with you a Nearpod that we created. And you guys are going to join the Nearpod and we are going to explain to you what Nearpod is and how we use it, modeling this lesson with you. So please go to nearpod.com. Alberto just dropped the link in the chat. And please enter the code in where it says like a join a Nearpod.
And we're going to do a live demo really fast, no more than 5 minutes, because we don't have like 4 hours to go over like every single thing, but we're going to do a live demo for you to see how Nearpod can benefit your students in your language class.
So pretty much what Alberto said before, Nearpod is like a presentation tool. This presentation tool is allowing you to send that presentation to the students' devices. The students will have the presentation in their devices. At the same time, you can create different activities to put between the slides in that presentation. So in that way, you have your students engaged in the presentation with activities like a live polls or with like a matching, this matching cards activity. There are like collaboration boards, there are a bunch of activities, and your students are very, very engaged in all of those activities.
Yeah, I just dropped the link in the chat for you to join us and see how is the student perspective. So pretty much we are going to see the teacher's perspective in the presentation in this Zoom call, and you're going to be able to see the student perspective from your computer. You have different screens up or different windows up. We have just one person, two people that join, just breaking records here. So we are going to wait like 2-3 more minutes for people to join, and we're going to jump in the presentation. We don't have a lot of time. Okay, more people are joining. So I think, Mario, we should go ahead because we're running out of time.
Yeah, we can give it a start. So we're just modeling it. So
yeah, so this is a way that we use it to learn Spanish. Ella y las olas is a story in Spanish. It is just a book that what we did, we took screenshots of the book and put it in the presentation. And we are making this reading interactive and fun way to learn how to read in Spanish.
So you're going to teach us Spanish now.
Yeah. So pretty much what we did was like a create like a screenshot, as Alberto said. So it's one page, our students read the page, and after that slide, which is the first page, for example, we always created different activities. So in that way, our students are engaged in the reading. They are kind of very focused to know what is going on in the story. For example, we read the first page when it was the cover, but we saw the cover, and in the second slide, there's a collaboration board. Like it's like a prediction. What do you think is going to happen on the story based on the cover, right? So it's a different activity that our students are doing. As we said, they're not just sit in their chair reading a story or reading a book. That would be passive learning. We want active learning. We want our students to answer questions. We want them to complete activities. And that is what Nearpod does for us.
So this is how I see it, how you are seeing right now. We're modeling this. Every single student is engaged.
Una niña que le gusta surfear. We have a Spanish speaker. Nice. I like it.
Like we are engaging every single student in our class by using Nearpod. Everyone is participating and everyone is using their language, their second language or third or fourth, depending, to kind of like complete these activities. And pretty much this is a presentation taking screenshots of a book that we have added different activities throughout the process for them to use their language and be active, be following along with us. So this is one of the activities we can add. Yeah, it looks like Padlet. It kind of looks like Padlet.
It is just
this part. This is one of the many activities you can add to the Nearpod, which is the collaborative board. If we go ahead, we can start reading the activity right here. Again, the first page. Again, this is just like a screenshot of a book. Pretty much. If we go ahead, we can add different quizzes for them to complete, and we will get here live the scores of students answering the questions, just checking for understanding if they got or not, like if they did understand or not.
So go ahead and show the next activity. This is the next activity that you guys need to kind of like pair different words. It's more vocabulary, words with pictures, and you need to put them together. As you said, there are many activities that you can create with Nearpod. It's not only a collaborative board or a quiz, there are just many activities.
And this is great for language because we are asking them to use the language. We are reading with them at the same time, and this is awesome. We love to teach reading in this way. We can go ahead and we have, sorry everyone, we have no like collaborative.
I was doing the matching, so
yeah,
you're very fast. You're very fast teachers.
Sorry, we need to move on. We have like many more tools. Again, we have like another page and then more activities after the page.
I think this is Time to Climb, which
this
is
is
like
Time
a
to
little
Climb.
video game that they, Time to Climb, little video game that it is included in Nearpod, so students can play this video game. You know, you can create questions based on the presentation, in this case, based on the story that we are reading right now.
So people are joining, you can use your character, and this is awesome. This is a great way to kind of create and play with the learning. I'm sorry, guys, we need to stop.
You need to stop. We need to come back to the presentation, and we need to keep going. And
this is beautiful, you know, because this is why we wanted to model this, because like you can feel the excitement, right? You can feel like how people are super excited to join the quiz, the Nearpod, and keep learning because you are engaged. You are using the language, using collaborative boards, using video games, using like different kind of tools to have your audience engaged.
This is, as we said before, we loaded this presentation. Every presentation we do is loaded of resources. So if you want to know what is Nearpod, you just come back to the presentation, watch the video, and that video will take you to their YouTube channel where you can check more videos like tutorials, tips, how-to videos, different things. Next tool is GameKit. Have you heard about GameKit? We love GameKit. It's like a Kahoot, but way better. Like, we don't do Kahoots anymore in our classes because our students don't like Kahoots anymore because they love GameKit.
GameKit is pretty much like a Kahoot, but has a many gamifications aspect items. So pretty much you create a kit with different like different words or questions, or like however you want to do it, vocabulary, reading comprehension, like just questions about culture, whatever.
Just think about like a Kahoot, where you create like a question with 4 responses, with 4 answers based on the content that you want to teach. So you need to do, that's what you do. You create a question, as you can see here, and you have 4 different answers, just like Kahoot. But the good thing about it is like have different video games, different modes that you can play.
And so in Kahoot, everyone goes in the same pace, right? Like the teacher goes, okay, we're going to answer question 1 first, and then question 2, and then question 3. With GameKit, those questions are popping up constantly. So they need to answer constantly questions. When they answer these questions, they earn money. So for every single question they answer correctly, they make money, and they can use that money to buy things. They can attack the rival team, or they can use their money to buy
a shield,
or get more money per question, or like different ways. So it is not just about answering questions. We are developing other skills like problem solving,
strategies,
like strategy, critical thinking, creativity, all these skills that are also important. And there are many different game modes.
For example, like you can see the humans versus zombies. My students love that one. They need to answer questions. When they answer questions, they get money. And this mode divides the class into 2. So half of them are humans, half of them are zombies. So the goal is to kind of kill the other team. So they use that money to attack the other team, or to even like cure themselves, you know, their health and all of that. So they are playing a game while they are learning about vocabulary or about different content that you want to include.
It is a great tool. We love it, and we use it a lot in our classes because it's really engaging. And they don't know, but they are like constantly answering questions, but they don't realize they are learning because they are playing the video game. They are playing that like gamified part of it. One of the ones that we like the most to learn vocabulary is Draw That. Is this one, the left like button left corner, and looks like this. So pretty much everyone in the class take a turn to draw one of the words that you have added to your set, and the rest of the class need to guess what the word is. It is really awesome for vocabulary because they need to look at the number of letters, they need to look at the letters that are already there, and they need to match all of that and find the right word in the second language.
It is super fun because they love drawing. It's, they kind of stop laughing, and at the same time they are learning vocabulary, they are reviewing vocabulary, and it is amazing.
It's like a Pictionary. Like I don't know if you have played Pictionary before, but it's like this game that we love to play, but while learning. So again, this gamificated part is awesome because they are learning while playing.
A question: is it for free, or do they have a paid version?
They have it's free. We have the paid version. With the free version, you only can create 2 kits. Let's say that, I don't know, like a 1 kit, vocabulary kit, 2 vocabulary kits. But if you paid, you can create more than 1. So we like that one because we review our vocab, or we review a lot of lessons with game kits. So we wanted to have as many kits as possible.
And there is like one license that is group license that is kind of really cheap, because you can like have you can talk people into using game kits. You can have like maybe 10 educators, and it's really cheap, like in comparison with just like what the single paid version.
And then we have BLOOKET, that we wanted to include BLOOKET because it's like a game kit. It's like gamification. They are playing video games, and it's the same idea. They are answering different questions. You create kits, as you can see here, different kits with vocab, with different questions, and then like your students play video games, play games based on these questions.
So we wanted to add BLOOKET because BLOOKET is more for like lower grades, and game kit is more for upper grades. I'm sure
BLOOKET is free.
Yeah, it's free. A lot of people in the audience are like from lower grades, and a lot of people from the audience are from upper grades. So we wanted to include both. So kind of the BLOOKET is the like lower grades version of GameKit. Of course, like upper grades can play BLOOKET, but as you can see in the screen, it's more like cartoonish, like a look that is more like focused on lower grades.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are going to jump on the next one. This is R+, like 4+1, and it is project-based learning.
Exactly. And this is a project-based learning. It is super meaningful approach, very active. As Alberto said, we've done workshops of 3 hours about about project-based learning. So we are going to try to kind of keep it simple and to talk about this for just 10 minutes as fast as we can. But we really wanted to include this because it is super important in our classes.
So project-based learning is, again, we are going to the active learning part, and we are going to ask our students to use their language in a meaningful way, in a meaningful environment, connected directly with a real world environment, with a real world situation. So these are 3 of the ones that we do in our classes.
The first one is theater. So we ask our students to create a play, a puppet, like
a puppet play for that. Then we have the podcasting and the filmmaking. So these are 3 of the projects that we do in our classes, and we are going to show them right now. So the puppet theater.
The puppet theater, what we ask our students, as I was saying before, is to write a script, to create a puppet theater, like a puppet play, where they are using their Spanish, they are using the language that they learn to create this product. As you can see, there's like a piano because they create music as well. So we try, like a live music, we try to include different projects, different like subjects or different skills in every project. So our students record this using their Spanish language, their Spanish vocabulary.
This is great because they are using every single like skill. They're using listening in Spanish or second language. They are using reading, writing, speaking. Every single important skill, they are using it during this project-based learning activity, this project. Mm-hmm. So the second one we do is podcasting. So our student, we have this radio that we put together in our school, and they do podcasting. So they choose the topic and they cover that topic in the second language. They need to write the script. They need to kind of like create the music. They need to do pretty much everything in this project-based learning activity, in this project, for them to develop their language. They are using their language in a meaningful context.
And like, it's not just about the Spanish. Like, I've used it in science. I've used it in history. Okay, just create a podcast talking about this, you know, this person that was super important in the world history, or, you know, create a podcast to talk about how the water cycle works. You know, all of those things, all of those are possible. You know, it's not only about the Spanish.
Really, really, really great. And then this is our filmmaking activity where students, again, they need to write their script. They need to do the acting. They need to do the post-production part. They need to put the footage together. So in this whole activity, they are constantly using their second language in a meaningful way, in a meaningful context, related with a real world environment.
Exactly. They're not just like a sit in a chair, yes, filling up a paper, writing in a paper, just, you know, like a reviewing what mesa means in Spanish. You know, mesa equals table. No, they're using their Spanish in a meaningful way.
Really, really useful. And for this, we use Soundtrap for the podcasting. Soundtrap is awesome, right, Mario?
It is amazing. It's paid. I'm sorry. You need to pay for this app, but it is an app to create podcasts. It is a Spotify app, and it is like a tool to create podcasts, but in an education version. You can create classes and put all of your students inside of those groups inside of the app, and you can create lessons, and you can even create assignments inside of the app. One assignment could be podcast about water cycle. The students get into the platform, they open the assignment, and they need to create the podcast. They have like a live studio online. They have like a video chat, feature if they are remote. You know, like they have different things. So it's like a real podcast, but in an education version. Super, super cool. And we highly recommend this.
As you can see, we use the green screen a lot in our project. So we use Do Ink. That app, you can install that in iPads or even computers, like pretty much everywhere. We use Do Ink to that green screen part of the activity. So we highly recommend Do Ink if you are planning on doing any like green screen related thing. And we did divide this project-based learning, these projects, into 3 different like parts. Pre-production, so they need to write the script, and they are using reading, writing, speaking. They need to write the script and put together their ideas, like brainstorming, like those things that they need to come up with ideas for the podcast, theater, or filmmaking.
And production is when they are recording a podcast or a video, or even the theater. You know, they are recording, they are just producing that content. That is production. And the third one and the last one is post-production. They need to edit the product. They need to make those those few changes that, you know, to make it a great final product. And they are using reading, writing, and speaking for all of these different projects.
And they are not just working on learning skills related to learning a new language. They are not just working on speaking, listening, writing, and reading in the foreign language. They are working on the future-ready skills that are really, really important for their future. They are working on critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, communication. This is the beauty of project-based learning. It's not just about developing second language skills that are really important, but also you are developing other skills that are going to help them a lot in their future. Some of those skills we have here.
One of our favorite reports, OECD puts together a yearly report that it's called The Future of Jobs, and it's based on what skills will be needed in the future for our students, you know, to use in their workplaces. And like, as you can see, almost all of the skills that we are developing during the project-based learning approach are going to be used in the future for our students when they graduate and when they start to work.
Again, you can see a more info button, so you can go ahead after the presentation and deeply in this report that we love so much. Before we leave, we want to leave just with one final reflection, because we are running out of time, and it is like technology must not substitute pedagogy.
Technology is super important. but technology needs to be used to enhance your teaching. Technology needs to be used as a tool to do something that you couldn't do before, but cannot substitute your pedagogy, cannot substitute a teacher. You know, like you are a person, you are a teacher, you are a great teacher. Do not change the way, you know, that your pedagogy is because you want to include a technology. You need to find a perfect fit to be able to use that technology, that app, to enhance, to empower your teaching, but to not substitute that.
That's really important. Technology is just a tool. We have different tools, but you are the teacher, and what those tools do is just empower what you are already doing in your class. It's empowering your pedagogy, but never are going to take the place of your pedagogy. And then we just want to say goodbye, asking you in the chat, what's one idea that you are taking from this webinar and you can apply tomorrow in your class? What's something that you are taking
What's
from
your
this?
biggest takeaway from this presentation?
So reflection time, perfect time management, Mario and Alberto. It's 7 p.m. sharp in Dubai time. So the people are commenting on all the sessions presented today. Rahaf, she loved the podcast. She will try to implement it in the future classes. The webinar was really great. So thank you. And then on Facebook, I'm getting great tools shared. We'll try all the tools. I'm going to use Gimkit and Nearpod. So those were two new ideas for Lucine. And time to say thank you for everyone. So you have also a muchas gracias, una excelente presentación.
Yeah.
How is my pronunciation in Spanish?
Good, it's great.
I've done 20 sessions of Spanish a few years ago.
That's awesome.
So voila, Mario and Alberto, I hope this will lead for future collaboration together. It was great having you. I didn't feel the time. And I think even the people in the chat also, they were very engaged with your energy. We felt your vibes. Beautiful presentation. Make it public so they can access it. And then in the next few minutes, the session will be also available on our YouTube channel if you would like to watch it again. On your calendar, put 5th of June. We will have an agency day, and we will be also sharing with different speakers based all over the planet their perspective about agency. We stay connected, and thanks again. Mario, Alberto, a final word from your side.
Well,
yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining us during this session. We know that we were the last one, that you guys are tired probably after all of the amazing learning that's that has happened during the day. But thank you so much, everyone, and we hope to connect with all of you and just get inspired by you.
So see you on social media, and just as Ali said, mark the date for the next awesome day of webinars that I'm sure they are going to be great.
Thank you.
Thank you.